All right, hello and welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We have lots of Brewers discussion today, just lots of baseball talk in general. I also went through 9 players on the Milwaukee Brewers roster to look at what they can improve individually. Last week I looked at the team as a whole, so this week I looked at them individually. Before we get started, I just want to shout out because we will be at Mill Street Day 2 weeks from this Saturday. And I want to give a shout out not only to Wisco Ball and Mental Health America, who will also be there, but also to Thomas from Fan Locks, who is going to be sending us a whole bunch of fan locks that we can sell at Mill Street Day. He's going to be sending us some that'll match the Brew Crew City Edition jerseys, as well as some to match Bucks, Brewers, Badgers, and Packers colors. So really excited about those. We'll be able to sell those during Mill Street Day. But Jake and I are going to be there. We're very excited for it. And we're going to have some more upcoming live show in-person news coming up as well in the near future. So planning those for August. But we're going to get into baseball today. So we're going to give our power pairs and our underrated performers, and then I'm going to jump into my offensive improvements. So Jake, welcome back. And who is your power pair and underrated performer?
So, first of all, hi. How you doing, buddy? I went with a couple different guys this week to try to spread the love. For my first guy, my power position hitter, I went with Luis Urias. Luis has been a little bit better over the last 7 days, I'll say. He was. This is not including today. I didn't add up today's totals, but coming into today, he was 5 of 15, 2 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, and 4 RBIs. So he was slashing .313 average, a .389 on base percentage, a .563 slug, and a .951 OPS. So I mean, if he can trend those numbers upward, and obviously the Brewers offense, we all know it struggled. So we're not just going to sit here and harp on it. There's been a lot of guys that struggled at various different times during the season. So Luis Urias is just getting back, getting his feet under him. So I expect him to be really good after the All-Star break. I'll say that.
And when I get into looking at individuals, how they can improve, I had Urias written down, and next to his name, I literally wrote he needs a bigger sample size.
Yeah.
He's played 14 games, 15 games.
Yeah, not
so
many,
he doesn't have enough at bats to even say like he needs to be better against this pitch. He's only seen 30 of them. It's really hard to say. So for a lot of guys, I didn't take any information down if they had seen a very small number of those. Like most guys haven't seen a lot of sweepers. Like not a lot of guys are throwing the old school slurve ball, the slider curve. There's not a lot of those out there. So, I didn't take that information into account for a lot of these guys because it's not particularly relevant because of the small sample size, which is what we're dealing with Luis Urias. So I'm going to hold off until his sample size is bigger to really gauge what he needs to improve on.
Right. So then for my pitcher, I went with Devin Williams. Everybody was on his ass, I'll say, against the Twins when he blew the save. His only blown save of the season, by the way. He's usually locked down. But he had 3 saves this past week, 5 strikeouts in 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, and a 111 opponent batting average. I will answer that in 1 second, Eric. For my UP, I went with Wade Miley. He had almost a month between starts, and he left his last start versus the Cardinals early. That was on 5/16. He obviously came back on Saturday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. We will talk more about that game when we break it down. But 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 2 walks. Of his outs, he had 8 of them were ground balls and 4 were fly balls. So he was keeping low contact. So he's really a ground ball guy. So if he's getting a lot of ground balls and no earned runs, and he's only giving up 2 hits, it's a good thing. It means the Brewers are playing good defense as well. Yeah. So
Wade Miley's a great pick for underrated performer.
Yeah.
Before I give mine, we can answer Eric's question. What do you think of Raimel Tapia?
So I almost feel the same as you feel about Urias, about him in a Brewers uniform. Like Let him get a little bit more acclimated with the locker room, the clubhouse, as they call it in baseball. So I think he's going to be just fine. He's been playing pretty good defense, and I loved watching that swing today. He absolutely tattooed that baseball. So I think he adds value. I think once he gets under him, I think this Brewers team. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because I was thinking this today and I was going to say it. I think if they can keep their head above water around the All-Star break, and we get a couple guys back, and everybody gets a little bit of a mental break. The guys that are pressing at the plate and stuff. I think they have a real opportunity to really skyrocket into. Thanks. To really skyrocket after the All-Star break. Isaac, I have a guy that I work with that actually went to this game because I wasn't allowed to because it was my girlfriend's birthday. So, sick flag, I know.
Eric, to answer your question, I said this last week when the Brewers made the signing official. The fact that he was batting .264, had a .333 on base percentage and a .368 slugging, which is relatively low. But I don't think Raimel Tapia has ever been a guy who's really been known for his power. He's been more of a contact and get on base and run kind of guy. It made me surprised that the Red Sox were willing to just cut him loose. But as for your other inquiries about doing a show together, hit us up. Send us a message or send one of us a message individually. We enjoy doing crossovers, and we have some news coming on that front soon, actually, with as far as the Packers are concerned. Just send us a message and we can talk about some ideas. For my power pair, I went with Christian Yelich and Julio Teheran again. I couldn't leave either of them off the list. Christian Yelich just had an 11-game on-base streak snapped yesterday, while also making an RBI ground out. But over the last week, he was 5 for 17. That's a .294 batting average, plus 3 walks. 3 of those 5 hits were for extra bases.
Oh,
he had 2 doubles and a triple. So a lot of extra base hits for Christian Yelich, in addition to just some really good contact. Like his at bat, I want to say 6th or 7th inning today. He hit just a frozen rope into the left center gap, but the center fielder, if this is straight up, he was playing him to left center. So just good defensive positioning by the Diamondbacks. Took what could have potentially been a double away from Christian Yelich. But he did still have the 1 hit today. And I looked through all the Brewers games in the last week for a pitcher not named Devin Williams that has given the Brewers what Julio Teheran has. So over the last 2 weeks, he's made 2 starts. He's pitched 11 innings, only 3 hits. He's given up 5 walks. Today was a little iffy on the walks, but he worked out of them. Only gave up 2 earned runs, which was in his appearance last week against the Pirates, and also 7 strikeouts. Julio Teheran has pitched 6 starts for the Brewers. All of them have been at least 5 innings, and in none of them has he given up more than 2 earned runs. After today, Julio Teheran has a 1.53 ERA with the Brewers.
That's nuts, dude.
That's a Matt Arnold masterclass right there. That's great work to find Julio Teheran struggling in the Padres AAA system and to grab him and bring him in. It's been a great addition. And then for my underrated performer, I went with Brian Anderson. He seems like he's starting to hit the ball a little bit better, a little bit harder. He did only have 2 hits over the last week, but he did also draw 4 walks. So seeing his plate discipline improving is good. And he's playing just fantastic defense.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic defense at third base.
Made a crazy play today.
Yeah, including today. Definitely. So with that said, before we get into the games, I'm going to go through – I went through the Brewers roster. I didn't put every single player on here. I didn't put Blake Perkins on here. I didn't put Raimel Tapia on here. I have Urias on here, but he needs a bigger sample size. So the 9 guys that I looked at 9 guys. I looked at Christian Yelich, Willy Adames, William Contreras, Rowdy Tellez, Joey Wiemer, Brian Anderson, Owen Miller, Victor Caratini, and Jesse Winker. So I looked at all of their statistics, their percentages, where they are at, and what is different from them, and then what they can improve on. So Christian Yelich is actually having a very, very good season.
Yes, he is.
that he don't think he's getting credit for right now.
No, he's not.
And I think potentially one of the biggest reasons for that is his meatball swing percentage. This is essentially just pitches that are down the middle of the plate. In 2020, he swung at 66.1% of meatballs. 2021, he swung at 74%. 2022, he swung at 73.6%. 2023, 87.1% swing percentage on meatballs.
That's a good plan.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Christian Yelich swinging the bat a little bit more on pitches over the middle of the plate. He's also
for sure.
His topped percentage, the percentage of balls that he's getting on top of, is down 7% from the last 2 years. He's squaring the ball up on the barrel of the bat more. His expected batting average is his highest since 2019. His expected slugging is his highest since 2019. His weighted on base average is his highest since 2019. His strikeout percentage is his lowest since 2019. He's got a very balanced spray chart. He's pulling 31.6% of balls, middle on 32.1%, and opposite field on 36.4%. And he's making less weak contact. And his barrel percentage is up. So Christian Yelich, I have really no complaints. Just keep doing what you're doing. I think Christian Yelich is having a very fine season.
Yes, he is.
If he keeps getting that batting average up, I mean, he's got about 2 weeks to make a push. But, I mean, Christian Yelich could potentially be an all-star this season.
Him and Devin Williams would probably be the two people that I'd say that deserve a representation for the Brewers.
Yep. Strongly agree.
Yeah. You don't hear the people complaining about Yelich so much anymore.
Yeah. I'd maybe toss Payamps in there, but still pretty quiet on him. He's just been quietly really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is one people are probably going to want to hear about, Willy Adames. So Willy Adames' launch angle is down. His sweet spot percentage is down 4%. His hard hit percentage is down 10%.
Oh.
He is, however, currently tied his career high walk percentage. His ground ball percentage is up 6%. His pull percentage is up 12.6% from last season. His opposite field percentage is down 9% from last season. His solid contact is down 4%. And then these are the two pitches that he's got the opportunity to improve on the most. And one of these is going to be very consistent through the rest of these guys. Willy Adames is currently batting 137 versus sliders. And currently batting 160 versus changeups.
I'm already going to tell you that changeup is the pitch that's going to be consistent.
Well, look at you. Good call.
Yeah, we suck at changeups.
James, what's up? Your favorite basketball team is about to get one of my favorite players, and I'm not particularly happy about it. Not because I think it makes them the favorites or anything, but it's just because it's a player I like playing for a team that I don't like. Okay, so Willy Adames, he basically just needs to get under the ball a little bit more. He's beating the ball into the ground a lot, and I think the other thing that would potentially benefit Willy Adames is to maybe look for the opposite field a little bit more. I think when we talk about previous seasons of Willy Adames having a lot of power and a lot of home runs, I feel that he's hit more home runs to right center than anything else.
Yeah, maybe, and I'm not trying to interrupt you, but
no, you're good.
They had the thing before the game today on the pregame show talking about Jesse Winker keeping his hips square, right? And it seemed like he was kind of just grounding out a lot, and when he was first struggling this season, maybe that could be the same issue that Willy Adames is facing, where he just has to keep his hips square and, so his hands don't get in front of him too much. I think that's what gets them off balance. A lot of it is legs, and people don't really understand that about batting. They think it's all up here, right? A lot of it is your legs with your timing and your power. So maybe that's something for him to look at.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. So, yeah, basically looking some opposite field approach, I would say, is where Willy Adames can potentially look to kind of shake things up for him a little bit. Next, I have William Contreras. He's been solid. Like, I don't have a lot of complaints about William Contreras. Um, his hard hit percentage is up 3%. His topped percentage is down 6.4%, which is good. Obviously, you don't want guys getting on top of the ball and grounding out a shit ton.
Mhm.
Yeah, you called it. I mean, you called it. Contreras 154 against changeups.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely nailed it with changeups. That's going to be a recurring thing with the rest of these guys that I looked at. 174 against curveballs and 167 versus splitters. Now, these are the two biggest numbers for William Contreras that he's got to work on. A 39.3 strikeout percentage against changeups. That is absurd. That's essentially 40% of the time that you're throwing a changeup to William Contreras in a 2-strike count, he's striking out.
Yikes. Well, you could just tell yesterday with the D-backs, man. I believe it was between the 5th and 6th innings. They threw us 3 fastballs.
Yep.
That just tells you that we suck against off speed stuff, sliders, changeups,
curveballs,
all that kind of stuff.
This is the other number for Contreras that's really high: a 29.2 strikeout percentage against curveballs.
Oh.
So identifying off speed stuff, I think is going to be the biggest thing for the Brewers individually, and it's going to come back more. So next guy I have is Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy Tellez hard hit percentage is down 7%. His strikeout percentage is up 5% from last year, up 10% from 2020, which is concerning, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
His zone swing percentage, this is the biggest number for me, is down 11.2%.
Jesus Christ.
So when I brought up last week that the Brewers are 27th or 28th, 28th in zone swing percentage, I think Rowdy Tellez accounts for a good chunk of that.
Oh, 100%.
And I tweeted this on, I think it was the opener against the Diamondbacks, that Rowdy Tellez has too strong of a bat to be looking at pitches.
Man, what did I text you? And you said that because you were talking about that tweet, and I just texted you right after you tweeted that. I didn't even see the tweet, but I was like, that bat didn't move off his shoulder very much in that bat, didn't it? He swung once, and he struck out, I believe.
Let me see.
Excuse me.
That's from Monday.
Maybe it was against the Pirates. I don't remember, but
just wanted to see. Yeah, must have been against the Pirates. But that was basically what I tweeted, was that Rowdy Tellez has too strong of a bat to not be swinging it. What's up, Tim? We're just talking about some Brewers individual potential improvements. So yeah, I mean, Rowdy Tellez, he's just got to swing the bat more on pitches in the zone, and instead of looking for the one pitch out of a 6-pitch at bat that he wants to swing at, and he just needs to start swinging at pitches in the zone. And these are his splits. In addition, his first pitch swing percentage is also down 6%, which is something I brought up with the Brewers last week, that their first pitch swing percentage, it was low. I know it was. Shoot.
Man, I was just messing on my phone watching reels the other day, and there was one with a baseball coach that popped up, a college baseball coach from a random college, and he talked about it. He said the best count to hit on is 0-0. Because what does every pitching coach tell the pitcher? Let's get ahead and go from there. So yeah, first pitch swing percentage, and you're. I mean, a lot of guys. I mean, look at Zach Gallen today. He was pounding the zone. Yes, it was low, but he was pounding the zone, looking to get ahead.
Yeah. So these are Tellez. He's got 4 pitches that he can work on, that he can get better against. I'm gonna go high to low because it gets ugly. Unless you want me to go low to high and just get the worst ones out of the way.
It's gonna be ugly either way, so it doesn't matter to me.
All right. So Rowdy Tellez currently batting 160 against curveballs.
Oh my God.
A 48.1 strikeout percentage against curveballs. I'm sorry, but it gets worse.
It's worse than that?
It gets worse than that. Rowdy Tellez batting 156 versus sliders, striking out 37.8% of the time on sliders. So that's not the worst part yet. Batting 135 against sinkers. Sinkers are tough pitches to hit. Like that, I'm not super mad at, but it's just an opportunity for Rowdy if he can identify sinking fastballs better. Mm-hmm. And then this is tough because this is, like I mentioned, a smaller sample size because not a lot of guys are throwing these pitches. But against splitters, really tough pitches to hit because they drop like a changeup with the speed of a fastball. Rowdy Tellez is batting 083 against splitters, striking out 66.7% of the time.
Holy shit.
So if a guy's got a splitter in his arsenal and he's facing Rowdy Tellez, you can bet that he's going to throw him a heavy dose.
Wow.
So, yeah, Rowdy Tellez, he's got opportunities to identify these 4 pitch types and just kind of get back into his groove of just hitting the ball hard and hitting for some power.
Wow. Yeah, you could tell he's pressing up there, man, when he hits a fly ball. You know, he's in a 1-2 count, and you know they're not going to give you anything good, man. They're going to try to get you to chase, and he pops up and he's slamming the bat on the ground. I'm just like, I feel bad for him because you know that he personally wants to succeed, right? But damn, that's tough, dude.
So they say, you know, you've heard the quote, like the night is darkest before the dawn. I do feel like Rowdy Tellez is kind of in that area because of last night and today. He hit 2 balls like really hard and just a couple feet short of the fence.
Yep.
So some really loud, long outs. So I do feel that like he's getting closer to kind of having some slump busting games coming up soon. You know, like maybe against the Guardians, he'll have like a 2 home run day or something like that. And it'll kind of break him out a little bit, which I'm hoping is what happens with Jesse Winker, who is going to be the last guy that I talk about. Mm-hmm. Next guy is Joey Wiemer. He does not have a full career of statistics to see what he's done well, what he hasn't done well so far in his major league career with him being a rookie. So the things that I'm looking for are where he can just change some of his numbers to make them look better. Mm-hmm. So first one is line drives. I almost said Jesse twice. Joey Wiemer, only 15% line drives. So it just really needs to get some more line drives. The next one is his topped percentage is 35.2%. So he's getting on top of the ball a lot and not hitting a lot of line drives. So that's just squaring up the ball a little bit more is something I'm looking for with Joey Wiemer. Some pitches he can improve against. Not a lot of these numbers are super concerning yet, but just looking at it, he's batting 0.000 against sweepers. Hasn't seen a ton of them. Again, with him being a rookie, he just hasn't seen a ton of a lot of these. Yeah. He's batting 182 versus curveballs, 179 versus sliders, and 214 versus curveballs. Honestly, with Joey Wiemer, I really just think he needs experience.
Yeah, he's being force-fed right now.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything that Joey Wiemer needs to really change. I think it's just he just needs the major league experience to continue to grow. I don't really think there's anything that he needs to change or get better at. I really, really just think he needs the experience.
Yep.
So next guy, Brian Anderson, his hard hit percentage is down 8% from 2022. His pull percentage, this one was kind of an eye-popping one. His pull percentage is down 10% from 2022. Down 6% from his career average.
Oh.
So looking at what Brian Anderson can do, he can be looking to pull the ball a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So we're looking for just concrete ways, tangible ways that the Brewers offense can improve. Brian Anderson pulling a little bit more, Willy Adames using the opposite field a little bit more. Now, Brian Anderson is batting 172 versus changeups. So that one's coming back to rear its head again. And he's batting 179 versus 4-seam fastballs. That is 100 points below where he's been for the last 2 years.
Wow.
So I see honestly Brian Anderson as one of those guys where you talk about feeling that there's a breakout potential for the second half of the season. Brian Anderson just being better against fastballs like he's been in his career could really, really give the Brewers offense a lift in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can get some momentum going. Like I feel like he's starting to. He's starting to hit the ball a little bit harder and have some better plate discipline. And if that continues and his confidence from his defense feeds into his offense, I do think Brian Anderson is one of those guys that can help the Brewers offense improve. So last three guys, Owen Miller, Victor Caratini, and Jesse Winker. Owen Miller, his fly ball percentage is steadily rising. His fly ball percentage in 2021 was 16%. In 2022, it was 23%. And in 2023, it's 31%.
Whoa.
So Owen Miller is continually hitting a lot more fly balls, which translates very much into his topped percentage was 43.5 in 2021, 32.6 in 2022, and 27.8 in 2023. So he's just grounding out less and flying out more.
Yeah.
He is also batting 0.00 against sweepers. Again, it's not a pitch that a lot of guys throw, but worth noting.
Mm-hmm.
Batting 205 against sliders, and he's actually been pretty good against everything else. So for Owen Miller, it's really just going to be getting the ball down and sliders. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Owen Miller. Fantastic in the month of May, struggling a little bit in the month of June. It's just not a lot to improve for him. Just needs to get the ball out of the air a little bit, which is a thing for a lot of the Brewers guys. Just are hitting the ball up or down. They just need to get in the middle more.
Yeah.
Okay, Victor Caratini. He somewhat of a pleasant surprise, but still opportunities for him to improve. His average exit velocity is up 3.6 miles an hour from last season. He has a career high launch angle, a career high hard hit percentage, but does have his highest ground ball percentage since 2017. His pull percentage is up 8.8%. His opposite field percentage is down 8.4%. His topped contact is up 7%. I think he hasn't had tons of at-bats. Most of his playing time has come during Corbin Burns starts. So for me to identify what pitches he needs to get better at, I need to see him take more pitches. He just needs to be in the game more for me to really be like, this is the pitch that he's got the opportunity to improve the most against, just because he hasn't played a ton of games so far this season. And last but not least, Jesse Winker finally got the home run monster off his back yesterday, which was good to see. His barrel percentage, not shockingly, is at a career low. His hard hit percentage is at his second lowest. His strikeout percentage is his career high. Interestingly enough, his line drive percentage is up 10% from 2022. His pull percentage is up 6%. And then his topped percentage is up 7.3%. So for me, it just seems like Jesse Winker kind of just beating the ball into the ground a lot and not hard. So basically just ground outs and strikeouts has been what Jesse Winker has done this season. Not shocking to anybody, but that's where the opportunity lies to improve, because you look at the line drive percentage, he is doing that better. So I do feel like there's a potential floodgate type situation with Jesse Winker, which I will mention when we get to last night's game. Pitch identification, he's batting 0.00 against sinkers, 167 against sliders and cutters, and 200 against curveballs. So sinker, slider, cutter, curveballs, those are the ones that Jesse Winker can stand to improve the most against.
He's just all around struggling then.
Yeah. And similarly, honestly, him and Tellez are in almost the exact same position.
Yeah.
Because Rowdy has more homers.
Yep.
But other than that, they're in very, very similar boats.
Man, it's almost as if those two get going. If Brian Anderson is good against the fastball and the Brewers decide to hit changeups, could be a good baseball team.
Brewers could be a very, very good baseball team if all those things happen. Because we already know that they're one of the best, actually, if not the best, defensive team in Major League Baseball, and one of the better pitching teams. So, anything else you want to discuss with any of those numbers, thoughts, feelings, concerns, questions?
Well, when you gave the first clue about one of these pitches, I knew the changeup because just watching the games, you're just like they struggle with changeups. I feel like we're a good fastball hitting team. Really shocking to hear that about Brian Anderson, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that jumped off the page at me.
Yeah, that was nuts. Like I said, man, Rowdy and Jesse Winker. I mean, obviously Rowdy was our home run leader last year. Jesse Winker is a big power guy. Brewers been hitting less home runs overall this season. So if we can get those two guys back to what they're normally supposed to do, Willie's got to figure his stuff out because he's obviously a 30 home run guy himself. And then we just have Yelly being Yelly. I expect Owen Miller to pick back up where he was and Brian Anderson to start hitting this fastball. I still see the potential in this roster. I haven't even mentioned Luis Urias getting on base more and becoming more productive. And I didn't mention Joey Weimer, just doing Joey Weimer things. Joey Weimer is doing fine. I have no expectations for him. What he's doing right now, he's going to struggle. Some days he's going to be fantastic. Other days, if Joey Weimer just does what Joey Weimer's doing now for the whole season, and we get those guys back on track to where they're supposed to be and where they're projected and what they've been doing with their averages, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And the Reds will lose again, people. I promise.
Right. They'll win games and they'll lose games for the next 3 months still.
Only 2 losses since we beat them 3 out of 4. We're the last team to beat them 2 games in a row. That's nuts.
All right, let's get to this Pirates series. We got a sweep, and I do want to say that it didn't happen the way we predicted it, but we did both predict 4 in 2 weeks, I believe.
We did. We both predicted 4 in 2. I almost said 5 and 1. I was so close.
I think you were going back and forth, and then you landed on 4 and 2 with me.
4 and 2 sounds right. We'll probably.
So just want to give us a little pat on the back for that, for correctly picking 4 and 2. But I think we both were picking like a 2 and 1 instead of a 3 and 1.
Yeah. We had an opportunity today, but we'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah. Not overly concerned about either.
No, I'm not. The Diamondbacks are going to be very good for a very long time.
They're number 1 in their division.
Yeah, and they're in
a tough division.
Yeah, I was just going to say they're in a division with the Giants, who are good, the Dodgers, who are always good, the Padres, who are one of the highest payrolls in baseball. I mean,
and honestly, they're not a good team, but the Rockies are not a bad team.
No, the Rockies aren't. I wouldn't call them horrible, but like you said, they're not good, they're not bad. They're somewhere in that middle ground.
They're very similar to where the Cubs are right now.
I wouldn't call the Cubs horrible either, even though I hate
them. They're going to be right around 75, 80 wins.
Yeah, I agree. Whole division.
The NL West is definitely a very, very good division of baseball.
Yeah, it's nuts. Let's start with this game. So,
go ahead. Pirates game
first
1.
of 2 Julio Teheran starts this week. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. So just absolutely amazing stuff from him. Aguero was very good. He gave up 2 earned runs in this game. Piamps, lockdown. That's what that guy does, right? And then Devin Williams, obviously, he was my power pitcher this week. He was absolutely shut down in this game. He was showing the passion as well. I just want to talk real quick about some Julio Teheran stats before I get into some RBIs here. This year, people are just amazed. They're like, oh my God, Julio Teheran is just like come to life. And they were talking about it today about his usage with the cutter. And he just started getting the cutter this year in spring training. It is now his 2nd most used pitch. So he's always been a sinker ball guy. So sinker ball, 37% of the time. His 2nd most used pitch, the new pitch is the cutter at 26%. He averages about 84 miles per hour on that, and hitters are only hitting 200 against that.
A cutter at 84?
Yes, he averages 84 miles per hour, and hitters are only hitting 200 against it. So
let me just put this thought out there, because Corbin Burns throws a cutter at like 94.
Yeah.
And the first game of this series, the Diamondbacks were all over Corbin Burns' cutter, right? And then today, if it was in the strike zone, the Diamondbacks couldn't handle it, couldn't touch it.
I know.
I'd almost like to see the Brewers flip-flop Tehran and Freddie and have Burns and Tehran pitch right after each other. So you're seeing a pitch that spins the same, but it's 10 miles an hour slower than the guy they
Right.
threw the day before. That's
So,
interesting.
yeah, I thought so too. That's why I wrote it down right away. I was like, oh God, this is good stuff. I got to write this down. So the next thing I have is the lowest ERA in Brewers history through 5 starts. Julio Tehran is 4th on that list with a 1.78 ERA. And the last guy to do it was in 1990. Ron Robinson had a 1.71. So after today, I believe Julio Tehran will have to look through
He's now
6 starts.
tied. He's tied now for the ones with 6.
Okay, he's tied now. Okay, so
with another current Brewer.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, wanted to throw that out there. So Tyler's going to have that stat later. Sounds like.
Yep.
Just wanted to point out that 4 of the 5 RBIs that the Brewers got were with 2 outs. So I thought that was great.
Nice.
Anderson, Perkins had 2 of them. Contreras had 1. Weimer's home run was the only one that was not with 2 outs. Obviously, he absolutely crushed that home run. So I have some collective stats throughout the series that I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
First pitch strikes, innings pitch, hits, earned runs, walks, and Ks. And I'm going to try to see if I can see some correlations between some stuff. But it's going to be my first week with it, so I'm going to introduce it, and then we'll see what happens.
Try to identify some patterns.
Yeah.
See what correlates with winning.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Okay, so game 1, Tehran, top of the first inning, 1-2-3 inning, ready to bat. Bottom of the first inning, Rich Hill pitches 4 walks in the first inning. That's the most he's thrown in any game this season.
Yeah.
So this inning starts with an Owen Miller walk and a William Contreras grounded to double play. And then it goes Christian Yelich, Willie Adames walk, Luis Urias catcher's interference, Brian Anderson walk, and then it's 1-0. So all this happens with 2 outs. Blake Perkins gets a big single with 2 outs, makes it 3-0. Just great work, just right on the barrel contact by Blake Perkins. Just fantastic job to just barrel it right into left center. So great work by Blake Perkins. His name's gonna pop up a couple times today. So credit for him.
Mm-hmm.
Top of the second, a solo home run off of Tehran from Carlos Santana. I want to give the Pirates credit. Signing Carlos Santana is a really underrated signing for them.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, that was a very solid signing by the Pirates, so credit to them. Top of the 4th inning, we got a Luis Urias web gem sliding onto the third base line, popping up and throwing an absolute rocket to first base to get Andrew McCutchen by half a step.
So close.
And that was part of 12 straight batters retired by Tehran after that solo home run.
Oof.
Bottom of the 4th inning, 2 more walks. And then William Contreras had a 2-out ground rule double. That made the game 4-0. Top of the 6th inning, Julio Tehran got a walk, a ground out, and then a sac fly made the game 4-2. Tehran finished with a beautiful strikeout of Brian Reynolds on the upper right-hand corner outside to a left-handed batter. So getting Brian Reynolds to strike out to end an inning where there's more base runners and more threats of scoring. That was fantastic work by Julio Tehran to end the 6th inning that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom of the 6th inning, I thought this was hilarious. And the Brewers, when they posted the home run, they put it in the caption too, that Weimer had kind of an ugly swing early in the at-bat. And the Apple TV announcer is talking about it. And he's like, the advantage always goes to the pitcher. And then Weimer just unloads a home run, which I thought was hilarious. That made the game 5-2. Top of the 7th inning, got a little hairy. Elvis Peguero came in, gave a walk, a single, and a hit by pitch. So the bases are loaded with nobody out. Gets a ground ball to get a force out at home. And then Ke'Bryan Hayes hit a soft grounder to second base. If Monasterio stops it, it's not necessarily going to be a double play because Ke'Bryan Hayes can move, but it would have potentially saved 1 run, which I'll say. Blake Perkins made a great throw to get the runner out at third base. So Blake Perkins, good job by him again. Peguero finished the 7th inning with a strikeout. So good job by him to get that done, to not allow any more runs. Piamps, you already mentioned. He had 1-2 walk 3 8th inning. And then the top of the 9th inning gets a little sweaty again.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Williams goes walk and a double. So there's second and third with 1 out. Devin Williams comes back, strikes out Ke'Bryan Hayes on the low outside corner with a fastball. Then walks a batter, loads the bases, and then gets another strikeout to end it. Like, I feel that's just where we're getting with Devin Williams. Like 1 out of 3 save opportunities, he's going to load the bases just to make us sweat.
Yeah, why? Stop doing that.
Yeah, just get all the strikeouts in a row instead of like going walk, strikeout, walk, strikeout, strikeout. Like, just go 1, 2, 3. You know, just line them up and knock them down.
With no context, if he sees that, he's going to be, oh, you think so?
Yeah, it's totally that simple,
Yeah.
right? You just do what you want, and the opponent has no factor in it.
Yeah, it's like Wii baseball, dude.
Oh, Wii baseball, man. Oh, what's up, Taylor? So, okay, go to game 2. This is your man Wade Miley that you brought up for your underrated performer. So, what stood out to you from game 2?
Yeah, again, for him to come back after a month and just literally just go on the mound and look like he hasn't missed a beat is just ridiculous to me. 5 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, the 2 walks, and 4 Ks. So just masterful stuff. Strzelecki was very good. The Brewers won this game 5-0, so all the pitchers, hats off to you. You guys were tremendous. No earned runs, only the 2 walks, so I thought that was fantastic. They ended this game with 8 strikeouts and 2 walks. So as a unit, they did very good. Tellez absolutely ripped one. Got 2 RBIs. Perkins and Weimer, back-to-back days with RBIs. Did I ever think on my Brewers Uno cards that I'd be saying that? No.
Not in mid-June.
No. Home runs from Perkins and Weimer. Was this the game? I think this was it either Saturday or Sunday? Oh, it was Sunday, I think, because it was a day game. That they were giving out the free haircuts?
Yep.
Was it Sunday?
Yep.
Oh, power of the freaking mullet, dude. Power of the mullet. Yeah, so the power of the mullet, the first 2 games of this series was absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Trevor McGill for his inning pitch, 3 strikeouts, bringing the fire. So, love that.
Yeah, okay. So, game 2, Wade Miley. What I want to bring up with this is I believe that this is the preferred infield for the Milwaukee Brewers when we were talking about the beginning of the season. So it's Rowdy Tellez at first base, Luis Urias at second base, Willie Adames at shortstop, and Brian Anderson at third base. I believe that would be the preferred infield for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Okay.
So top of the first inning, Wade Miley struggled a little bit. Took him 28 pitches to get through a scoreless first, but got out of it scoreless. So we'll take that. Really just testing him right away, right out of the gates. Jesse Winker also returned for this game, back healthy. Should have had a walk in his first at bat. Kind of a shitty position for him to be in, to have a high strike call basically above the letters, but it is what it is. Top of the second inning, Wade Miley, 15 pitch, 1-2-3 inning. Good work by Wade Miley. Top of the third inning, Raimel Tapia had a nice shoestring catch to help another 1-2-3 inning for Wade Miley. Bottom of the third, Victor Caratini led the inning off with a single. Joey Weimer hit that home run that you mentioned. Christian Yelich followed it up with a single, and then was stranded. Top of the fourth inning, Willie Adames, a nice charging play on a slow roller. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when Luis Urias made a similar play. Those slow rollers where you have to charge and then as you're still running, make the transfer and throw because you don't have time to stop, set your feet, and then throw. Those plays are very tough, and it's a very underrated play to make. So I want to give Willie Adames credit for that because those plays are tough.
Yeah.
Hayes, he got a lucky safe call. I think if Craig Counsell challenges it, he's out. But he didn't challenge it because there's 2 outs. So that's why I wanted to bring up why he didn't. I know I texted you this where I'm like, why didn't he challenge that? Like, he was definitely out.
Yep.
It's the 4th inning, and there were already 2 outs. I think that's the major reason why he didn't make that challenge. Wade Miley, made a nice play in the top of the 5th inning against a bunt attempt to get that. Gave up a walk and then a double play, 5-4-3 with Brian Anderson and Luis Urias both making very good throws. So Wade Miley, through 5 innings, retired the first batter all 5 times.
Oh, that's important.
That's what makes you an underrated performer.
I agree.
Not letting the leadoff man on base any time in the first 5 innings. That's fantastic stuff by Wade Miley. Bottom of the 5th inning, Christian Yelich and Willy Adames both get on base. Rowdy Tellez, you mentioned, hit that 2-out RBI double. After a couple questionable strike calls. What was funny to me about this is that Rowdy Tellez is standing on second base after he ripped that double. Standing in the dugout, Joey Wiemer's just up there, and he's like, what the hell? He wanted Rowdy Tellez to be on third base with a triple, trying to set a career high for triples for Rowdy Tellez with 2. I thought that was funny. Top of the 6th inning, Peter Strzelecki comes in and faces what I would say are the toughest 3 batters for the Pirates. Gets Ke'Bryan Hayes to ground out, gets Brian Reynolds to strike out, and then gets Connor Joe to fly out. Very good inning by Peter Strzelecki. Top of the 7th, Peter Strzelecki gets the first 2 outs and then strands the bases loaded. Holby Milner does. Holby Milner came in for relief for Peter Strzelecki, stranded the bases loaded. Top of the 8th, Elvis Peguero gave up a leadoff walk, got a flyout, and then a double play to end the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th inning is where you mentioned Blake Perkins hit that solo home run. Pinch hit solo home run, by the way. I feel like hitting pinch hit home runs, I feel like that's got to be one of the toughest things to do in baseball.
I would agree with that. You could probably say sports in general.
Well, I mean, baseball is one of the hardest sports.
Yeah, baseball, hitting a baseball is just so stupid hard.
Yeah, it's insane.
Hard. Yeah.
Okay, top of the 9th, McGill gave up a leadoff single, struck out Hayes. He struck out Ke'Bryan Hayes on a 101-mile-an-hour fastball.
I know, dude.
That's rude. Then he gets another strikeout on a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Oh, slow
and then gets a third strikeout of the 9th inning on an 86-mile-an-hour curveball.
Yeah, good luck. That curve, the last one was disgusting. That one, the last one.
Yeah, it really was. 86-mile-an-hour curveball is insane. That was the Brewers' 7th shutout of the season.
Love it.
Okay. Pirates game 3. What stood out to you from that one?
Willie Peralta, nice bounce back. Just Willie. Freddie Peralta. Jesus, why do I always do that?
Willie Peralta, what a throwback.
I always do that, bro. God damn it.
It's hard when Willy Adames and William Contreras are batting right next to each other because it's like Willie William. Like,
yeah.
And it just makes you want to say Willie because there's 2 other guys who basically would be Willies.
When I take my notes, I literally put an F in front of Peralta because I always still call him Willie Peralta, dude. Oh my God.
I put FP. I just do initials. FP.
Okay. So Peralta, the Freddie version.
Yes.
He had 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, then 9 strikeouts. Yes, he had the 3 walks, and he went over 100 pitches, which I thought was interesting for Council to let him.
Season high, 103 pitches.
Yep, season high. Holby Milner gave up 2 hits, but no earned runs from him. Trevor McGill, back-to-back days, no earned runs. He had no walks, no strikeouts, but absolutely nothing on the board, so you'll love to see it. And Devin Williams, again, just he was better in this one. And when we get to his save opportunity last night, I'll have a cool stat for you.
Cool.
We get to this one. Yelly had 2 doubles. Now he's up to 14 this year. Contreras had a triple in this game. Urias with 2 RBIs, Tapia with an RBI, Winker with an RBI. So really you get to that, and I'm going to go to my totals real quick before you get into the breakdown real quick. So in this series against the Pirates, the Brewers pitchers had 66 first pitch strikes versus 103 batters faced. So that's a 64%. So I feel like right now, how I'm looking at it, that's a good area to be. 60, mid-60s is good.
I agree with you.
So obviously the 27 innings pitched, they allowed 15 hits, only 6 earned runs in 27 innings. That's pretty fucking good.
That's two. That's two per.
Yeah.
Two per.
11 walks and 26 Ks. 7 different players on the Brewers got RBIs. So you're looking at it from that perspective. I have a lot of optimism looking at it from that perspective.
Yeah, that's very balanced.
Yeah.
And you okay? Now tell me all those things from a team coming off a 6-game losing streak.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing. I should have brought that up too. Yeah. So this is directly coming off a 6-game losing streak, and then they put this series up there. 7 different players RBIs, controlling the walk, striking out people, low earned runs in 27 innings. I mean, and 64% first pitch strikes. I mean, that is so important for a pitching staff.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, I like that. And it's baseball. Like the ups and downs are gonna happen. I mean, I can't say it enough that baseball is the most zoomed out regular season in professional sports.
Agreed.
Okay, so Freddie Peralta, 1-2-3 first inning with 2 strikeouts. Bottom of the first inning, Christian Yelich rips a leadoff double, 112 miles an hour pulled off the bat.
Oof.
112, like damn, Christian Yelich,
Yelich is
smoking the ball right now.
Fucking ripping that shit, dude.
Yeah. Now, people complain about Jesse Winker grounding out, which moved Christian Yelich to third base. So people will complain about Jesse Winker grounding out. And in the same strand of comments, will also complain about the team not bunting.
That was petty, but hey, it's right.
So what you're telling me is that you're mad at Jesse Winker for putting the ball on the ground, now, albeit not intentionally, with the idea of creating an out to move a runner 90 feet.
Now, here's the context of this. They want to bunt so the ball is in play. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. It's like the 2 Spider-Mans pointing at each other. That's exactly what it is.
Mad at Winker for grounding out. Mad at Council for not bunting.
Yep.
Bunting, it's just a ground out. Bunting is a ground out. You can call it a sacrifice all you want, but sacrificing outs for 90 feet of bases when you have Christian Yelich at second base, like, no, I don't want to bunt. I don't want to give the other team free outs.
Good.
You're intentionally committing outs. I don't like that. Mm-hmm. And mathematically, it doesn't make sense. And if you say analytics are ruining baseball, like you're just saying that because your side is being proved wrong by them.
Yeah. Or if
analytics supported bunting as to somehow increase run production, you'd be like, see, look, analytics say we should do it more. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Top of the second inning, leadoff double. Pittsburgh tried to bunt and popped up. Tried to bunt, popped it up. Free out. Thank you. Freddie Peralta throwing a good amount of changeups. They talked about this in the broadcast that he's throwing a lot of changeups. To me, I don't know if he was either trying to get the changeup going or if he was just trying to maximize the effectiveness of his fastball. Those are the 2 things that came to mind for me. Like if he's just trying to, make the changeup part of his repertoire, or if he's just trying to throw something that's a little, take some miles per hour off the bat or off the ball. Sorry. Mm-hmm. And then make his fastball look a little bit faster because he's throwing more changeups. Mm-hmm. So those are the 2 thoughts that I had with that. Did have 2 walks in the second, had the bases loaded, gets a strikeout, all 3 of them on fastballs. 29 pitch second inning for him, but no runs in that inning. Top of the third inning, Brian Reynolds caught up to a fastball. It was an 8-pitch at bat. It was a good battle. Brian Reynolds is an all-star. I don't feel bad. Like there's no shame in getting beat by Brian Reynolds for a 2-run home run.
No, he's good.
Yeah, he's real good.
Yeah.
Like 8-year contract good.
Yeah.
So your dad said in certain situations bunting is still right, better than swing and miss. I understand your point on grounding out.
Before you go at him, I'm just going to say he is finding middle ground here. And the Brewers do swing and miss a lot. So
right, and I get that aspect of it, but the only time it really makes sense to me is when you need just 1 run.
Yeah. Well, the Brewers offense a lot of times does need just 1 run.
Right, but I mean, if it's the fourth inning, like I don't want to play to score 1 run. I want to play to score 3
Yeah.
runs or 4
I
runs.
I definitely agree with you. It's almost like in football where like you're making that fourth down call and you're on a certain
Sure,
part of the field.
sure,
I think that bunting has become that
right,
where it's like, okay, we're in the seventh inning or later and we're down by one. I can see that.
right.
I
If
don't
it's
want to
the
see it in the third inning.
right, if it's the bottom of a ninth or later inning, and you have a runner with 0 outs, like I don't want to do it with 1 out either. I would only do it with 0 outs to get a guy from second to third, because then a sac fly still scores a runner.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you bunt a guy with 1 out from second to third, a sac fly doesn't help you. Um, a sac fly
Yeah,
doesn't help you because that's just the third out.
that's
Certain
true.
situations also is used with more pitchers hitting, which is true. A lot less bunting with hitters not with pitchers not hitting. So that is definitely a factor. Okay, so yeah, Brian Reynolds hits a 2-run home run, made it 2-0.
Yep.
No ill will towards Freddie Peralta for that.
Yep.
Got 1, 2, 3 right after that. Bottom of the third, Brewers get a pair of walks, first and second, with nobody out. Sorry, with 1 out. Both runners stranded. Tough. Just stranding lots of runners. I should have looked it up. But the Brewers, it felt like stranded 10,000 runners in that Pirates series,
Yeah.
despite getting a sweep. Which I guess it's good to have lots of base runners. So I mean that's a good problem to have.
True.
I'll level at that. They got the wins. That's what's important. Don't mind me just talking myself through this.
I'm along for the ride, buddy.
Top of the fourth inning, Freddie Peralta got another 1, 2, 3. Bottom of the fourth inning, William Contreras led off with an opposite field hit. Got by the right fielder for a triple for William Contreras. He was stranded at third base. That's tough.
That is absolutely uncalled for, is what I'm going to say.
It's Top of the fifth inning, Freddie Peralta, another 1, 2, 3 inning with 2 strikeouts. Short innings pitch wise in the fourth and fifth innings earned him the sixth inning. Second and third innings were both pretty heavy on the pitch count for him, but for him to, I think the fourth and fifth were both like 11 pitches, if I'm not mistaken.
I could not tell you.
It was something like that. Freddie Peralta, top of the sixth, or sorry, let me go to the bottom of the fifth first. Christian Yelich had another double, this one opposite field. He was on base all 3 times so far up to this point. Jesse Winker hits an opposite field single, and Christian Yelich, aggressive base running, makes this a 2-1 game. Aggressive base running is one of the things I brought up last week that the team can do as a whole to score more runs. And the broadcast said it, and I agree with it. There are not a lot of guys you're going to send on a hit to left field to try to score from second base, but Christian Yelich is absolutely 100% one of them.
Yeah.
I'd say about half of the Brewers roster you probably send in that situation.
Yep. The Brewers had 18 left on base in the Pirates series.
Oh, that's ouch. That's a lot.
Six a game.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. Top of the sixth inning, Freddie Peralta, another 1, 2, 3 inning. He retired the last 12 batters that he saw all in a row. So gave up a 2-run home run to Brian Reynolds, and then went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
That's how you do it, Devin Williams.
So complaining about Freddie Peralta, I'm not. He gave up 2 runs to an all-star and then retired 12 straight batters.
I like it.
So I'm good with that. Top of the seventh, Hobie Milner got 2 singles, but gets a double play to end the inning. Top of the eighth, Luis Urias made another nice play defensively. So Luis Urias is playing like even with the third baseline, because it's what's his? I think it's G1. His first name is G1 Bay.
Yep.
And he squares to bunt a couple of times, pulls it back, and then hits basically what would have been like an opposite field round out. But with Luis Urias playing up even with third base, that makes your reaction time like 3 seconds shorter because you're playing so much closer to the batter because you're not wanting to let the guy bunt for a single. So for him to make that play, credit to Luis Urias because that is a tough play. So that was part of a 1, 2, 3 eighth inning for Trevor McGill. So good job by him. Bottom of the eighth inning, Jesse Winker leads off with a walk. Willie Adames just missed a double on the left field line. Just missed it, but worked a 9-pitch walk. So credit to Willie Adames for putting together a good at bat. Rowdy Tellez flew out William Contreras at a single to right field, and Andrew Monasterio pinch running for Jesse Winker, which is a great move by Craig Counsell, running aggressive, scoring from second base, made this a 2-2 game. Owen Miller followed with a walk. Ramiel Tapia flew out deep to center field. That was just a great play, honestly, by Ji-Hwan Bae to make that play on the warning track.
Yep.
Everybody tagged up, so everybody moved up. And honestly, a heads-up play by him to toss the ball to his right fielder to make that play in, because otherwise 2 runs are scoring on that play.
Heads-up play by the right fielder to cover that too, man. I was going to bring that up because I knew you were going to do the breakdown. So
yeah. So credit to the Pirates for good defense in that situation.
Yep.
That was the Brewers' his first RBI for Ramiel Tapia as a member of the Brewers. And then Luis Urias gets to a full count with 2 outs. Hits a 2 RBI single, makes the game 5-2. Fantastic work by Luis Urias in that at-bat. And then you mentioned Devin Williams making things a little bit easier in the top of the 9th inning of this one. Struck out Santana, struck out Joe, and then got a fly out. Just a no stress, 1-2-3 9th inning. Good work by Devin Williams in the finale of the Pirates series.
Yes, sir. I believe we got home from the zoo because that was Father's Day. We got home from the zoo. I believe it was the 7th inning. So I was like paying attention to it. I went back and watched Peralta. But I was paying attention to it on my phone when we were at the zoo. And then when I got home, I was able to watch the last couple innings. So that was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Good Father's Day for me, man.
That's good. So 2 things that I have with this one as a whole. Freddie Peralta, that was his 6th game this season, over 7 strikeouts. He only had 4 in 2022. So I'm keeping track of that one. That was 6th time he's had more than 7 strikeouts this season.
That's nuts.
And then Christian Yelich versus Pittsburgh. 333 batting average, 3 for 9, 2 doubles, 3 walks, 3 runs scored.
Jesus.
So Christian Yelich is a very solid series against the Pirates.
I like it.
Okay, let's move to the first game of the Diamondbacks series. Now, I saw a lot of Corbin Burns slander coming from this one, and I have a lot of pitch type analysis from this game because I saw a lot of people saying Corbin Burns cutter is figured out, trade him, cut him, whatever. I saw somebody implying that Corbin Burns was pitching poorly on purpose because he lost his arbitration. Like, you realize, like, arbitration is for money, and him losing out on $740K isn't anything compared to if he has, like, a 7 ERA this season and doesn't get paid in the future.
Yeah.
Like, better revenge would be coming and winning a Cy Young and then looking for like a 10-year, $500 million contract and being like, yeah, suck it. Like,
yeah,
pitching poorly benefits him in no way.
It actually makes the Brewers look smarter.
It does.
To be completely honest with you.
It does.
Sadly. And like, I'm on nobody's side in that situation. Do I think the Brewers could have given him 700 more K? Yeah, they could have. They could have easily just forked that up and been like, you want a Cy Young for us? You've been a horse for us. You pitched a lot of innings for us. But at the same time, you know, they're like, this is what you're worth, and they stuck to their guns. It is what it is. Yeah. And to be completely honest with you, I saw a poll this week, and you know, we are more positive than others, and we will die on that hill. But there was a poll this week, and it said who has been the most disappointing Brewer this year, and I said Burns, and it's not even a competition for me. It was Burns, Willie, Winker. Who the hell? Tellez maybe? I don't remember. But I said, this guy is a former Cy Young. So, like, when you get on that hill, to me, it's like winning MVP, right? When you get on that MVP hill or you know, you're a scorer in the NBA, this is like a guy that led the league in scoring. Like, say the Cy Young is – this guy won the MVP and won the scoring title, right? And then 2 years later, he's a bench player. Like, that's as comparable as I'm going to make it. And I'm not going to kill Corbin Burns.
And it's not like he's in his mid-30s or anything either. He's just kind of having a down first half.
It's going to happen. It happens to everybody, right?
And I have the context that goes with it. So
in this one, Yelly with the solo, RBI in this one. He had a triple. Good hustle by him. Shout out to him. First triple of the year. 2 outs in the third inning is when that one came. The thing I'm going to say about this one is the Diamondbacks, first of all, are a very, very good baseball team. They were on fire coming into this series.
Yep.
They're
you
young.
Want to know something nasty about the Diamondbacks?
What's that?
Their last 9 road series, they are 8-0-1.
Holy shit. Wow. Plan in this game was to go after Corbin Burnes early. They were not going to let the former Cy Young Award winner settle in, and that plan of attack absolutely worked. They got to him early. They got to him often. 5 innings, 8 hits, 7 of them, 7 earned runs, 2 walks, and only 3 strikeouts. I mean, this is by far one of the worst Corbin Burnes starts I've ever seen in my life over the past couple of years for sure. But it's going to happen. I'm not going to hang my hat on it and say that this is the Corbin Burnes we're going to get. We're going to cut him. His cutter is figured out. I'm not going to say any of that stuff because I don't believe it. I don't believe that Corbin Burnes is just sitting there like, ha, 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 I got them. I got them back. Like, he's not going to do that. He's a competitor, okay? Exactly. You don't see him roar coming off the mound after a big strikeout and think that he gives a flying about a couple $1,000s and wants to make his image look bad.
Yeah.
No, he wants to make the Hall of Fame one day.
Right.
He wants to make all-star games. He wants to win games, period, with the Brewers right now.
He would want to put things, on the books that would win him his next arbitration case if it got
exactly.
To that.
So, for future reference, people, he's not doing this on purpose.
Yeah. That was one of the more asinine things that I've seen suggested.
My daughter upstairs is sounding like the comment section of the Brewers when they lose.
Okay, so bear with me on this because I wrote down a lot of the pitch types from the first few innings of this game to see if it really was his cutter being quote unquote figured out. So I really, really dug into the pitch types to see where his struggles came from in this game. And then just to kind of see, where he, when he did get outs, what they were. Okay. So this game started with 2 cutters. The leadoff double was in the lower third of the batter's box, the strike zone. That's the word. So that's just a good hit. Tip credit to the batter. But 2 cutters, first and third on 2 pitches. Followed by a 5-pitch walk. All 5 pitches were out of the zone. In that 5-pitch sequence, he only threw 1 cutter. Followed by a 1-2 count, a low away slider hit for a single. In those 3 pitches, he did not throw any cutters. So the first RBI single that Burnes gave up was a 69.5 mile an hour exit velocity broken bat single on a slider.
Yikes.
Not off of his cutter. The next one was off of a cutter. It was an 0-1 pitch. Cutter hit on the outside, hit to the opposite field, made the game 3-0. Now that one on the outer side of the plate, that's just a tough pitch. And just another really good hit, honestly. Not mad at Corbin Burnes for throwing it where he did. Followed that up with a 9-pitch at bat. Almost got a double play. Turned into an RBI fielder's choice. That made it 4-0. Corbin Burnes followed that up with a 3-pitch strikeout, 2 cutters, and 1 sinker. Then gave up a 2-run home run on a cutter on the low inside corner of the plate. That made it 6-0. That one on the low inside corner, that one you tip your cap. Good hitting. And I've said this with every single sport that you and I have ever talked about. Good offense beats good defense every time.
It does.
So to hit a low inside cutter from a guy like Corbin Burnes, I tip my cap to you. That's a tough pitch to hit. And if you can, that's good work. I mean, I don't feel any sort of, ill will towards Corbin Burnes for throwing a good pitch that was just better offense against it.
Agreed.
So I followed it out with a ground out on a curveball that ended the first inning. Brewers went 1-2-3 on the bottom of the first. Top of the second inning. Corbin Burnes gets a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the second. first at bat is a 5-pitch flyout. He threw 2 cutters, 2 changeups, and a curveball. Second at bat was another flyout, only 2 pitches, both of them cutters. So he got the second out with 2 cutters. Third at bat of the top of the second inning is a ground out, took 2 pitches, 1 cutter, 1 curveball. So totally fine there. Bottom of the second, Brewers went 1-2-3 again. Unfortunately, then top of the third inning, Corbin Burns put up another 1-2-3 inning. A 7-pitch line out. He threw 5 cutters, 1 curveball, 1 sinker. So second at bat, a 2-pitch flyout, 1 curveball, 1 sinker.
Okay.
And then another 2-pitch ground out. One of them foul, all sinkers, or both sinkers, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So a foul ball and a ground out, both on sinkers. Bottom of the third inning, Brian Anderson led off with a walk. Got up 2-0. Pitcher worked back to 2-2, and then he drew the walk. Victor Caratini and Joey Weimer flew out, and then Christian Yelich hit that double down the right field line, just a pull hit. So Christian Yelich, credit to him for using all of the fields.
Yeah.
Top of the fourth inning, back to Corbin Burns. 4-pitch flyout, 2 cutters, 1 slider, 1 sinker. The sinker is the one he got the flyout on. Got a single off of a changeup. So that one not off a cutter. Another single off of a changeup. And then got a strikeout on a cutter. 5-pitch walk with 4 cutters and 1 changeup. Then a ground out and a flyout, both against changeups. So honestly, when it comes to Corbin Burns, and in the 5th inning, gave up a double against a cutter. That one he threw right down the middle. That was honestly really the only pitch where I really felt like, okay, Corbin Burns like really missed on that pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Was a double to lead off the 5th inning. But got a fielder's choice against a slider. Got a 5-pitch strikeout. He threw 4 cutters that were all got the strikeout.
Oh,
so
this cutter got figured out though.
Yeah. Also followed that at bat with another 5-pitch strikeout. All 5 pitches cutters.
Huh.
So, and if if your narrative is that his cutter got figured out, your narrative here in the 5th inning would have been that the Diamondbacks gave up trying to score more runs for some reason. Yeah, they're just willingly committing outs, as if anybody does that.
And striking out.
Yeah. Doing it on purpose because they feel bad for Corbin Burns in the middle of professional baseball.
Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned Burns. What I do want to give credit for in this game is Adrian Hauser, actually. He deserves a lot of credit for this game. 4 innings pitched in relief, 3 hits, 2 walks, a strikeout. Did give up 2 runs, only one of them earned. But I mean, if you're talking about it, obviously you wouldn't want Adrian Hauser only pitch 4 innings if he started a game. But 4 innings pitched of Adrian Hauser to only give up 1 earned run, like I'll take that.
I agree.
Yeah, and then there's pretty much just nothing to go. Brian Anderson was really the only other bright spot I had from this game. He had a single and 2 walks, so good job by Brian Anderson to get on base 3 times.
All right, now we get to the good game of the season.
Yes, let's talk about the fun game.
All right, so Colin Ray, who, for lack of better terms, has been better than advertised, I'll say. I'm not going to say he's good, but he's definitely like how we explain the Rockies, where he's not good, but he's not bad.
The word that I've been using is serviceable.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll go with that. I was going to say he's consistent. I feel like I see the same stats every time, but serviceable is definitely a good one. 5 1/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. I mean, what more can you ask from a guy that I didn't even know existed, right?
That's exactly what I was gonna what I say when I say that he's serviceable is like he's a guy who was not expected to contribute to the major league roster this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, only in the case of injuries was he going to be expected to be pitching for the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's where we find ourselves.
Exactly. That's bottom line right there. Hobie Milner and the rest of the bullpen, fantastic job. Give credit to Craig Counsell. He pushed all the right buttons.
Yeah, he did. Good.
Yeah, he did very good. Hobie Milner comes in. pitches 1 1/3 inning. He went to Wilson to face who the hell is that freaking Walker? What the hell is his name? Christian Walker. Christian Walker.
Not
Christian
Kristen,
Walker.
it's Christian.
Christian Walker. I said Christian Walker.
I know.
He's very good. Christian Walker.
Christian Walker is a stud.
He is.
He
And
made
Bryce
Paul
Wilson.
Goldschmidt tradable.
That's crazy. So Bryce Wilson comes in and faces him, takes him out. Piamps only 1 hit in his inning pitched, and Devin Williams gave up a walk and a strikeout. Had a strikeout, but after this one, excuse me, Devin Williams has not allowed a run in 14 home games. Little interesting tidbit for you.
Nice.
Going to the RBIs, obviously you're going to do the breakdown here, but
Sure.
Yelly got an RBI. Winker with 2 of them absolutely murdered a home run.
Yeah.
Adames with an RBI, Urias with an RBI, and Contreras double. I was texting my dad as well as texting you, and I was like, somebody please just get the big hit. And all of a sudden Contreras gets the big hit, and I'm like, yes. That double in the 7th was his 5th go-ahead or game-tying RBI in the 7th or later this season.
5th?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so Contreras, if nothing else, if people are going to complain about him, he's been clutch.
He's clutch? Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so I want to put this out there. Ozzie Timmons, one of the Brewers' hitting coaches, was working with Jesse Winker and William Contreras pregame. Just want to throw that out there with batting practice. Okay, so top of the first inning, Colin Ray gets into a little bit of trouble. 3 of the first 4 batters hit safely. A double and a single, gave up a 1-0 lead, another single, and then went pop out and ground out. That could have been a much worse inning than 1-0.
True.
So Colin Ray got out of some trouble there. Brewers went 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. Top of the second inning, Diamondbacks go double, walk, strikeout, and then a 2-out, 3-run home run by Ketel Marte. I feel similarly about this home run as I do about Freddie Peralta's home run that he gave up to Brian Reynolds. Ketel Marte is not as good as Brian Reynolds, but he's close.
He was on base literally every fucking at bat, it felt like.
I don't remember the exact stat.
I mean, he was getting hit to be on base, walking, hitting the ball, home runs, doubles, singles. He was doing everything.
It was batting averages against the Brewers since last season, and he's number 1.
Really?
Yes. Trey Turner was on the list. Brandon Nimmo was on the list, and then there was one other guy on the list I'm forgetting.
Screw those guys.
Yeah. I know. We have to play against Brandon Nimmo in the next series.
I know.
But I mean, Ketel Marte is a good player. Like, I'm not mad that Colin Ray gave up a home run to Ketel Marte. I'm just, a little more bummed out that it came with guys on base. Ketel Marte is one of those guys who's going to get his. He's a good hitter. He's a good player. And he benefited us later in the game. So it is what it is.
Yes, he did. Twice.
So bottom of the second inning, Willie Adames drove a leadoff single. Jesse Winker struck out. Brian Anderson hit a double. And Luis Urias, another RBI double. So Luis Urias, to be in your power pair, I see it. It was a big hit for him, make the game 4-1. Top of the third, Colin Ray gets a 1-2-3. Bottom of the third, Brewers go 1-2-3. Top of the fourth, Colin Ray gets another 1-2-3. Bottom of the fourth, Willie Adames gets another single. And then Jesse Winker finally gets his first Brewers home run. This is where I'm really hoping that this is a floodgate situation and Jesse Winker hits like 6 more home runs before we get to the All-Star break.
That would be nice. I think we'll win a lot of games if he starts hitting some.
Exactly. Yes. And I want to give Craig Counsell some credit for moving Jesse Winker from 2 to 5 in the batting order. I think that's a really good place for him.
Yeah, I still am not a fan of Adames in the 3-hole. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, I mean, they moved him down to 4 if you want to split hairs.
I want Contreras as the 3-hole hitter.
I actually really like Contreras as the 2 hitter, honestly.
I like him there too, but if, for the sake of argument, I would like Yelly, Adames, Contreras because I think Contreras is just a better hitter overall. And having Contreras behind Adames, I think is a good thing for Adames. I think he'll see better pitches.
And I think the opportunity is there for that to be that with Jesse Winker.
Yeah.
And this is where I understand Craig Counsell's logic. is alternating lefties and righties. So you have Christian Yelich, who's a lefty, William Contreras, who's a righty, Rowdy Tellez, who's a lefty, Willie Adames, who's a righty, Jesse Winker, who's a lefty, and then Brian Anderson, Luis Urias, Joey Wiemer.
Yep.
So I do understand that aspect of it too, the having the lefty-righty alternating. But like I said, hopefully that opens the floodgates for Jesse Winker. That made the game 4-3. Luis Urias followed that up with a single, was stranded. Top of the fifth inning, goes 1 out, single, and then 2 outs, 3 outs. So almost a 1-2-3 inning for Colin Ray. Bottom of the fifth, the Brewers did go 1-2-3. Top of the sixth, Colin Ray got the first out, gave up a single, and then Hobie Milner came in, gave up a couple more singles, made it a 5-3 game. Bottom of the sixth, the Brewers went 1-2-3 again. Top of the seventh, you mentioned Hobie Milner getting 2 outs, and then Bryce Wilson getting the third out. Bottom of the seventh is where things get hectic.
Yeah.
But if you like small ball, this was a fun inning.
Yeah.
This was a super fun inning. So Luis Urias leads off with a walk. Blake Perkins gets good hustle on a ground ball. That Ketel Marte just kind of got caught up. By the time he looked away from second base, that Luis Urias was probably going to be safe. Made the throw. Blake Perkins was already a step past first base.
He was running hard.
He was running hard. So credit to him for the hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Then I believe Joey Wiemer. Joey Wiemer hits a grounder. It bounces off the pitcher's glove and into Ketel Marte's hand. By the time he flips to second base, Blake Perkins is safe. So good hustle again from him from first to second base. If that ball doesn't hit the pitcher's hand and Ketel Marte feels it cleanly, you're looking at a fielder's choice.
Yep.
So credit to Joey Wiemer also for his hustle. Then Christian Yelich hits an RBI ground out, makes it a 5-4 game. And then on the first pitch is the credit, like the point of emphasis here. William Contreras hits a double to the left center gap. That was just an absolute rope, just a perfect hit.
Yeah, it was.
William Contreras squared it up beautifully to the left center gap, made it 6-5 Brewers. Owen Miller followed it up with a single. Brewers get 1 out with runners on the corners, and then Willie Adames hits an RBI fielder's choice. They tried to double him up. Willie Adames with good hustle to make that a fielder's choice and not a ground into a double play made the game 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
Top of the eighth inning, Joel Payamps, most underrated player on the Brewers, 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, he was bringing the gas too, boy.
Yeah, he was.
He was bringing the gas.
And then top of the ninth inning, Devin Williams gives up a 1-out walk, gets a grounder to first base. Owen Miller steps on first base, throws to second, and they get the tag out for the third out of the game. They go to review it. It's confirmed. Great play by Owen Miller. You made this point, and I wanted to just bring it up. You said that you don't think that Rowdy Tellez makes that play. I think it's possible that Rowdy Tellez makes that play, but I think that Owen Miller being at first base and being an infielder, having more experience making throws from second to first, he doesn't play very much shortstop, but he plays a decent amount of third base and a lot of second base. Making those throws from base to base, I do think that that's a factor there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just and the other thing that I'm thinking of is maybe just the quickness, because
Sure. I mean,
it wasn't super close, but
it wasn't like a super hard hit ball. So it's not that I don't think that Rowdy could get in front of it, step on the bag, and make a throw. I really think it's more in the throw.
Oh, right. But maybe just the athleticism to step in and be able to be athletic enough.
Yeah, to take a hop off the bag and then have an angle.
Yeah.
But it was a tough angle. Like nothing but the throw that he made gets that runner out.
Right. That was really my point, is the athleticism point of view. Not that I don't think Rowdy can't field the ball and throw it to second base.
Right.
But
I think it's more likely that Owen Miller makes that play.
I agreed. And he made another play today where I don't think Rowdy makes it.
And you said as you were rounding up your thoughts on this game, with Craig Counsell pushing all the right buttons, Owen Miller at first base is one of those buttons.
Yep, I agree.
I wanted to go into the season with him as the Brewers' backup first baseman, but obviously injuries necessitated him to play a lot more middle infield and third base. But loved having him at first base. He played 80 games at first base last year, so I was on board with him playing a lot of first base this season.
Yeah.
last note with Game 2, largest comeback of the season for the Brewers.
Yes, sir.
Down 4 runs. Okay, so let's get to today's game.
Don't forget, that's the team with no heart, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That team with no heart that they were there down 4 runs late in the game and decided to win. So throw that out there.
Touche. Yeah. No competitive drive from a team like that.
Arrow, be petty. So you're welcome. I have that. Be petty.
Man, that's gonna be like the worst hashtag ever. Like hashtag stay petty to negative people.
I'm giving them everything. You know, like you said a couple months ago, what the hell did you say? I'm going to paraphrase. You talked about, congratulating people as much as you bring them down.
Right.
I'm going to be petty to those negative people as often as they are negative for no goddamn reason.
And that's part of how our show is. Like, we aren't just constant, we're not Pollyanna positive is the turn of phrase that's usually used. Like, we're not the sunshine and rainbows kind of positive. We're more like the positive takeaways kind of thing. And relating the analysis and the way that you act towards the outcomes, towards life. But we also feel the need to oppose the negativity with the same energy at times.
Yeah, you have to.
So it's not like we're being petty to be, like part of the toxic fan base that we have sometimes, but it's more to just oppose that negativity with the same energy, which I think fueled our quit being fucking crybabies segment last week. Just to kind of equally oppose that negativity, but try to have a little bit of fun along the way,
Definitely one of my favorite segments. I won't lie. The name alone puts it.
I should have taken some screenshots from that one.
Top 5. Sure.
Okay, so today's game, top of the first inning, a single and 2 walks, 23 pitches, but no runs against Julio Teheran.
Yep.
So bases were loaded, but Teheran get out of it with no runs. Christian Yelich led off with a single, 108 miles an hour off the bat of Christian Yelich's single.
Smoked it. The shortstop, I don't remember his name, but he's their leadoff hitter as well. Shortstop was literally just defending his face at that point.
Top of the second inning, Julio Teheran goes 1-2-3 with 2 strikeouts. Bottom of the second inning, Brewers go 1-2-3. Top of the third inning, leadoff hitter gets 3-0 against Julio Teheran. Teheran comes back, works the count to 3-2, and then gets a ground out. That's the prime Julio Teheran. Not getting behind 3-0, but when he is behind 3-0, not surrendering a walk. Coming back to get a 2-strike count and a ground out.
Yep.
Then gave up a hit by pitch, but got a double play to end the inning. Top of the fourth inning, we get a Brian Anderson web gem. Him playing third base a little bit more often, I feel like is making his third base defense a little bit better. Which he's already a very, very, very good defending third baseman, and now he's getting into elite third base defending. Brewers have the second most outs above average at the third base position.
Yeah, they do.
So Brian Anderson diving towards the third baseline, pops up, makes a throw. We almost got a second web gem in the inning with Luis Urias. He made a nice play to make a stop, got the throw over. Owen Miller just couldn't quite handle the pick, which isn't it's not a scoring error or anything like that. That's a base hit. That's a tough pick.
Shitty bounce, dude.
It's in between bounce where Luis Urias doesn't have time. If he stops to plant, that runner is going to be safe by 1.5 feet. So he's got to make a great throw.
That's a great throw in that situation.
Yes.
And this is kind of the reverse psychology. I was waiting for you to bring this out. I think that if Rowdy, because he's a bigger person, bigger frame, he might have just picked that, like straight up.
Yeah,
he stretches a little farther. He's got a little bit longer arms because he's 6'4", right? 6'3", 6'4". Where Owen Miller is just a little tiny, little 6-foot guy compared to him. He looks small next to Rowdy Tellez. Maybe he just picks that. I was thinking about that during the day.
And that's one of those things. Like I said, if Luis Urias takes the time to set and make an accurate throw, the runner's safe by 1.5 steps.
Yeah.
If Owen Miller makes that pick, it's a fantastic defensive play. Yeah. Ended up not mattering, but it is what it is. So top of the fifth inning, 2 more base runners, but no runs versus Tehran. That's why I mentioned he's gone at least 5 innings with 2 or fewer runs in all 6 of his starts with the Brewers. Now, through 6 starts with the Brewers, Julio Tehran has a 1.53 ERA. That is the best, tied for the best in 6 starts as a Milwaukee Brewer. Can you guess who he's tied with?
You said it's a current Brewer?
He's tied with a current Brewer.
God, I don't want to be
Kind
wrong.
of tricky that I said that.
I got 2 guys in my mind.
Who are they?
I'm gonna say I'm just gonna go with my gut. Is it Woody?
It's not Woody.
Damn it.
Who was the other guy you had in mind?
I was gonna say Freddie.
It's not Freddie either.
Damn, who is it? Corbin Burns?
Wade Miley.
No way.
Yeah, Wade Miley in 2018, his first 6 starts with the Brewers, he had a 1.53 ERA.
That's lit. I'm not gonna lie. I love that stat.
That's why I said he's a current Brewer. It's kind of tricky.
I love that stat now.
Okay.
I never thought I'd get a stat with Wade Miley and Julio Tehran in them.
And being their first 6 starts being the best in Brewers history.
What a stat. Chef's kiss, for sure.
Okay. Bottom of the 5th inning, Raimel Tapia gets his first hit as a Brewer as a solo home run.
Yeah.
Raimel Tapia kind of owns Zach Gallen a little bit. Not a lot of people do because Zach Gallen is going to win a Cy Young in his future. Maybe even this season. But Raimel Tapia is now batting 10 for 18 against him.
Yeah. I like how during the game they showed his average and they just fucking smokes one, dude. I was like, good timing.
Right? Just like when bringing up the pitcher's advantage always, and then Joey Weimer just launches a bomb on mullet day.
Right.
Top of the 6th inning, Peguero got into some trouble, gave up a walk and a double, made it 1-1. That runner would have been out at the plate, in my opinion, if Contreras holds on to that ball. It probably would have gone to a review, and the call on the play would have stood. Whatever play, whatever would have been called would have stood, in my opinion. But if Contreras holds on to the ball, I think that would have been an out.
I think that would have been an out too. I think his hand, when he slid, his hands were like up like this. I think the plate was just underneath him.
Like I said, I think whatever was called on the field would have stood, in my opinion. But followed with another single, made it 2-1. Hobie Milner came in and got the 3rd out. Bottom of the 6th is where I brought up Christian Yelich. Good contact to left center, but the center fielder had him shaded towards the left center gap to make that play. So that's just good defensive positioning.
Yeah.
And then top of the 7th inning, Peter Strzelecki got 2 outs, then gave up 3 walks, and finished the inning with a strikeout. So he just felt the need to load the bases with a bunch of walks and then get a strikeout on some pimped fastballs that he threw. He threw some great fastballs to get that last out.
Yeah.
Just do it to the guy 2 batters ago. I mean,
right.
What are we doing here? Whatever. That's what it is. Bottom of the 7th, Roddy Tellez led off with a walk. Owen Miller immediately grounded into a double play, and that was pretty much it for the 7th. 8th inning, 2 doubles made it 3-1 against McGill, and then a single made it 4-1. Ketel Marte struck out on a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Diamondbacks tacked on another run in the 9th inning. I will say with Trevor McGill, I think he's going to be a really good pitcher. He just needs some time to develop his command. Yeah, that's how I feel about Trevor McGill.
Yeah, I agree.
And then bottom of the 8th inning was the last thing that stood out to me. 6 pitches, 2 strikeouts to start the 8th inning, and then for the inning total, 11 pitches to get 3 strikeouts.
Oof,
that's tough.
Yeah.
So what stood out to you from today's game?
I mean, Julio Tehran was great. Tapia tattooing a baseball was awesome. Going into this game, Julio Tehran had some really great stats against the Diamondbacks for his career. 11 starts, 4-1 record, 2.98 ERA. So he's very good against them for his career. And then also, outside of the home run, the Brewers only had 3 base runners for this game. So that's not good. We're going to get into – so I went through the series totals with the Pirates. I'll go through the series totals with the Diamondbacks real quick here. Obviously, the 27 innings pitch, it's going to be for every series because there's – Yeah, so it's going to be the same. A much better offense. So I'll just tell you, for the first pitch strikes, they were 60 for 125. That is a 48%. So that's so you're getting behind on you're getting behind counts on a better offense. It does not bode well for you.
Yeah, that's tough. I feel like a lot of that's probably front loaded with the first couple innings
Yeah.
of the opener against Burns.
Well, Julio Teheran was only had 10 first pitch strikes and 21 batters, so he wasn't very good today either.
Yeah, just under 50%.
And Colin Ray was 12 of 24, so he was 50%.
Exactly 50%.
So for the series, they gave up 29 hits, 17 earned runs, 15 walks, and only 18 strikeouts. We did have 6 different players with RBIs in this series. So again, a lot of people contributing. If we could just get, we just need more power and more consistency with players getting on base. And then the first pitch strikes, I think, is definitely going to be something that correlates to hits and earned runs.
That's a very fair point. I will say, as far as base runners today go, like I said with Zach Gallen, like you're looking at probably a future Cy Young winner potentially this season.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So looking at the Brewers' upcoming schedule, they have 3 games at Cleveland and then 4 games at the Mets. We're only going to be talking about 2 of them next Wednesday. So we're looking at 5 games. I'm going to say 3-1, or sorry, 3-2 for the Brewers. I'm going to say they take 2 out of 3 from Cleveland and split the first 2 against the Mets.
Man, do you remember the first series against the Mets?
Yes, I was at one of the games.
We beat them 10-0 and 9-0. So the first 2 games of that series, we absolutely piss pounded them. I think that we're better than the Mets right now.
Mets are 5 games under 500 right now.
I think that we're better than the Mets right now. I think that, I know the Guardians are like 3 or 4 games under as well, maybe 5. I'm gonna say 1 loss. 1 loss for us.
4-1.
Yeah, 1 loss. 4-1.
Who saw the Reds actually doing good this season? It's more surprising than the Pirates.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not. Everybody knew for the last 2 years that the Reds were loading up. People were talking about it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That the Reds were loading up. The Pirates are still in the loading up portion, in my opinion.
O'Neal Cruz being hurt doesn't help the Pirates.
Right.
I don't know. I saw the Reds finishing 3rd in the division. Maybe 4th. I had the Reds right around where I had the Cubs. Right around that 75 to 80 wins. I didn't expect the Reds at one point to go on an 11-game winning streak.
Nope.
I didn't see coming.
No, definitely not.
But Ellie De La Cruz is a fun player for them, so good for them for having that.
He's fast.
Yes. Okay. Anything else you want to say about baseball?
No. I'm really excited to hear something that you're going to say, so I'm not going to ruin
it. Okay. So Jake and I each have 2 guys. Tomorrow night is the NBA draft. So Jake and I each have 2 guys that we would like the Milwaukee Bucks to target. We didn't go super in depth with it because the Bucks have literally the last pick of the draft. And just historically, just not a super relevant thing. Not that it's something we don't want to pay attention to, but it's just something we didn't feel the need to go super in depth on. So we each just picked 2 guys. And then, I mean, if you look at it, like AJ Green was an undrafted player last year.
And I like him.
I like him a lot. I think he's going to be a factor with the Bucks this year. So yeah, Jake and I each have 2 guys. We're going to start with one of them. So you might as well just say the guy that we have both on our list.
Jalen Pickett. Badgers fans, this guy transferred to Penn State last year. For me, he looks like he has an NBA body. He has a ton of muscle on there, so he can take the pounding. He is short.
He's short, but other than that, I agree with you.
But he could take the pounding going into the paint, finishing a little bit if he could figure out how to get those high ones off the glass, which obviously being around a guy like Drew Holiday is going to teach you that there. Sure. And scoring over, I expect us to bring Brook Lopez back. I won't lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
But, going against guys like Brook Lopez and Giannis, who are 2 of the best rim protectors in the NBA, you'll definitely learn that trait.
Sure.
I love that it would be another ball handler. He's tough, some playmaking, some rebounding. He had some triple doubles for them this year. He could shoot the 3 a little bit. So I thought Jalen Pickett at pick 58. I'm like, that's value for me.
Sure. So Jalen Pickett is a guard. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. So he's not huge, but he's not little either. He's not a baby. He's not Nate Robinson or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, that's got to be like right around the same size as Chris Paul, right? Chris Paul might be 6'3", but
He's 6 foot.
he's 6 foot. Oh,
Chris
damn.
Paul is 6 feet tall.
Okay, so he's basically Chris Paul's size, but a teeny little bit taller.
Yeah.
Okay. Jalen Pickett last year at Penn State averaged 17.7 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 6.6 assists.
Yeah, he has a little bit of everything, man.
And he shot 50.8% on field goals, 38.1% on threes. So really, really solid offensive player, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I thought with him is he's got a good offensive bag. He's a little undersized is really the only complaint you can have with him.
Yeah.
What I would like if the Brewers did draft him is if the Bucks decide to go with a little more true point guard play this season. He is the type of guy who I think the Bucks could draft, keep Wigginton on the Bucks roster while letting Pickett develop with the herd.
Okay, I'm with that.
That's my thought process with Pickett. Like I think Wigginton has done enough to have earned, a roster spot to be, essentially the third, quote unquote, third point guard.
Yeah.
But if they decide to use Javon Carter a little bit more this season and use Drew Holiday off the ball a little bit more,
yeah,
I feel that that's where Wigginton could make the roster, and then Pickett could kind of be that lead guy on the herd that they can kind of stash and develop. Because I do think developing a point guard is going to be something that the Bucks don't need now, but will need in 2 years when Drew Holiday is considering retirement.
True.
Okay. With him, he's a high IQ player, and like Jake said, with his body type, he's scrappy. Now, the other thing that stands out with him is that he may be undersized at 6'2". He does have a 6'7" wingspan.
Oh, okay.
So I will take that.
Yeah.
So he could be a guy, still plays the passing lanes as a guard. I wouldn't have any problems with him guarding like a Steph Curry, or even Ja, just because Ja is super athletic, but he's not overly big. Like he could handle a Trae Young type point guard. Those guys aren't overly physical type guys. Those guys are more finesse players.
Which you can get away with in today's NBA.
Right. If some other team were to be drafting Pickett, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting him on Drew Holiday.
No.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at with him. So who's your second guy?
So we revealed one guy because I was originally asking for 3. I was like, I really like Jalen Pickett. I'm reading up on him and stuff, but I'm like, nah, I'm good with 2. I crossed out the other guy. So I hope I don't steal your guy.
I hope you don't either, because I really like this guy.
Oscar Tshiebwe?
No, it's not Oscar.
Okay. I like Oscar Tshiebwe.
You think he's gonna fall to 58?
I do.
Really?
He is not a great playmaker.
Sure.
And he's a liability on defense when defending in space, which is a really big thing in the NBA. So
right.
I think you can hide him next to a Giannis or a Brook Lopez.
Okay.
Because they're so good at covering stuff up. I mean, just look at the Bucks defense last year. When things broke down and everything got funneled to Brook Lopez, he fixed it, right?
Chris Middleton is another one of those guys who's a good team defender. You've brought that up, I know, at multiple points.
And the reason that I said Oscar Tshiebwe is he's heavier, but he's about the same size as a Bobby Portis, and he does a lot of Bobby Portis traits. Now
that's exactly what I thought of when you said he's not a playmaker and he's defensive liability at times.
Immediately I thought of this guy could turn into Bobby Portis. Now he has to have great hustle, great heart. He has to develop a nice little mid-range jumper, but the thing that he does do is he finishes. He's a good pick-and-roll player, and he can fucking rebound.
He's a good rebounder. Yeah.
So I like rebounding.
He's
I like
a glass eater.
Paint. So those are the things that I'm looking at with Oscar Tshiebwe. Also, he did have a major knee injury in college, so that might be something that teams are looking at. But really, the problems with defending in space, that's something you can work on. And definitely with Coach Griffin, who is a big defensive guy, they're going to fix that. So I'm looking at Oscar Tshiebwe, and I'm kind of licking my chops if he falls to 58, because I'm just like, this guy already understands how to rebound the fucking ball, dude. You could put him in the game, he'll get 10 for you.
Right.
I promise you that.
So my guy to kind of transition is another guy who had some injury concerns. But when I was looking at players, defense was important, and you took kind of a different mindset with it, where you went with a guy who's not a good defender, looking at it if the Bucks could develop him into that. I looked at guys who were established defenders that the Bucks could mold into an NBA defender.
Okay.
So my second guy, I'm actually really excited about this one. I'm glad you didn't bring him up, and I'm glad I found him. I feel like he's diamond in the rough potential here. My second guy is Liam Robbins from Vanderbilt. So Liam Robbins is a 7-foot center. So he's 7 foot, 250 pounds. Last season, he averaged 15 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 3.2 blocks per game. Shot 50% from the field, 36.5% from the three-point line. Over his final 12 games, listen to this, over his final 12 games, 19.4 points, 8.5 rebounds, 3.8 blocks.
Oh, shit.
Vanderbilt was making a push for the tournament, and then Liam Robbins hurt his lower leg. He had a leg fracture in his lower leg. So the injury concern there is what's pushing him lower in the draft and could make him potentially a steal at 58 for a guy who averaged 15, 7, and 3 blocks while shooting 50% from the field and 36.5% from the three-point line.
I like it.
I look at Liam Robbins as a guy who could develop into Brook Lopez's replacement.
I like it.
So with him, he's going to be 24 in July. Honestly, it doesn't concern me. I don't care because 24 is still 5 years younger than Giannis.
Yep.
So if you're looking for a guy to help through Giannis's prime, honestly, having an older rookie doesn't concern me at all.
It doesn't me either.
So Liam Robbins, he was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year and was first team All SEC last season.
Oh. You might be onto something there. I'm going to be watching for him now.
I like it. I really, really like it. If his name gets called at 58, I'm going to throw a fucking parade for myself for calling it. But I really like it. And if he doesn't get drafted, I would love for the Bucks to bring him in as an undrafted free agent. Even if it's just for summer league to see, if he's got that 3-and-D capability. The thing that's going to push him down in the draft is obviously the injury concern. And then he needs to deepen his bag offensively. Mm-hmm. So he's not a playmaker like you were saying with Shibwe. He's not a playmaker. So he's not he's not a Jokic type IQ passer or anything like that. He doesn't have a super strong mid-range or post-up game.
Yeah,
but he's a capable shooter. So he's one of those guys where the Bucks camp Brook Lopez in the corner a lot. You can do that with Liam Robbins. You can camp him in the corner. Now, he might not be, a super great half-court option, but you have some time while Brook Lopez is, like you said, I agree with you, probably going to be back with the Bucks, that you can use those 2 years of what we think is probably going to be for Brook Lopez, a 2-year deal. You can use those 2 years to help Liam Robbins build more of a complete offensive game, and he's already got a great defensive base, foundation defensively, as evidenced by averaging 3.2 blocks per game. And it's not just from, blocking jump hooks. I read that he's actually really good at blocking, driving guards and using space. And he's actually touted as a good drop defender. So I really, really believe that Liam Robbins could be a potential Brook Lopez replacement in a couple years.
Yeah, we'll have to, because the whole new coaching staff. So we'll have to see how the offense looks. Yeah. I'm assuming they will. I'm assuming they'll keep some of the staples that the players like. It seems like Griffin's going to be our open ear to all the players. So there's going to be spots and stuff where players love to be in certain plays that they run, and they'll take stuff from Bud's system. In evidence by keeping some of Bud's assistants, Oppenheimer and Vin Baker. And then also it'll be really interesting to see how they play defense. And drop defense is going to be in there, so I love that you brought that up. Brook Lopez is obviously very good at it. So getting another guy that's good at it already, that would just make sense to me. Because then if you have two guys that are good at drop defense, if Brook has to go out and he has to play for 8 minutes, you're not really getting a drop off in that certain type of defense. So especially if that's working against a certain team. So I like it. I'm on board.
This is one of those situations where you're looking at like backup big men where you keep Brook Lopez for 2 years, you keep Myers Leonard for this year. Let Liam Robbins develop with the herd. Then you put him on a 2-way deal, and you let Myers Leonard go at the end of next season, and you have Liam Robbins back up Brook Lopez for his quote unquote farewell tour, and you develop him as the Brook Lopez replacement. He'll be 26 at that time. Giannis will be 31, and you say, let's try to go win 4 more championships. That's where I'm at.
Man, if they get in a situation where they have a 26-year-old guy that can produce next to Giannis, blocking shots, rebounding, shooting the free ball,
yeah,
the NBA will be scared.
You're on board. I'm glad that I got you on board with this guy.
Yeah, it didn't take much. I would love another center, and I was reading up on the centers, but I just kind of fell in love with Shibwe's offense and his ability to rebound.
That's I get really that. Rebounding is important.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks have been consistently one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA under the Budenholzer era, so that makes sense.
And one of the things, with the rebounding is I went back to Griffin talking about he likes to crash the offensive glass. So then I'm thinking like a guy
the Bucks did make a more concerted effort for that last season as well. So credit to Budenholzer. That is one of the things that he tried to adjust from the previous season.
Yeah, I would love if Giannis was going even harder, because I feel like Giannis is always around for a rebound, or Brook Lopez. Use our size, right?
And Bobby Portis.
Yeah. Well, I think we're in for a good year. I think the Bucks are going to be really pissed off. Obviously, the taste of disappointment doesn't taste good to athletes that are champions and guys that hold themselves to high standards. So and people don't freak out when Chris Middleton opts out of his player option. He's going to re-sign for more years.
Right.
That's what I think.
And less per season.
Yeah, so he'll probably somewhere like 390, 395, right? That's fine.
That's
my ballpark.
The one contract rumor I've seen from Jake Fisher from Yahoo Sports is 4 for $130.
4 for $130?
So that's
a little bit higher than my 30 per year.
Yeah, so it's about 33. Honestly, I think that's a great deal for both sides.
30? I'm on board with a 30. I wasn't on board with 40 mil per year, but for his player option this next year, but 33 per year for a guy that can.
If I'm gonna be honest with you, I still think Dallas would give him 40 a year.
Well, they would.
They're fucking desperate.
They
offered Middleton a max contract when he signed his current deal that would have paid him more money than he made with the Bucks over the last 4 years.
They're trying to get everybody. The Mavericks are always in. Cuban's always trying to make a move.
Yeah.
Not shocked.
I still think, even though he'll be with the Bucks probably for less than 35 a year, I do think the Mavericks would give him like a 2 for 80 or a 3 for 120.
I agree.
I don't think he's going to, but I think they would offer it to him.
I hope not. I hope he likes Giannis.
He's not going to. If he already turned the Mavericks down for more money to stay with the Bucks, and won a championship here, and the Mavericks are in development hell right now, I don't think it's really a contest.
Agreed.
Alrighty, so we will see. Tomorrow night's the draft. We'll see who the Bucks take at 58. We'll see if they try to trade up. That's been a rumor too. I don't know that it's really catching on with anybody. But we'll see if the Brewers or the Bucks can make a trade between tonight and tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see who the Bucks pick at 58, and if they grab any undrafted free agents like AJ Green they grabbed right away last year. And Jake and I will be back on Wednesday next week.
I agree.
All right. See you next week.